One thing I also want to touch on here that's going to segue into the Steelers, and we got to give it more Steelers talk on this show because they're actually picking, and we spent a lot of time on the rest of the league in round one. There were some other rumors that we didn't discuss in the first round show, not only just Juju, but there were also rumors of what the Steelers are going to maybe do at running back and if they were going to look to fill that position outside of the draft, and if they were actually going to truly go forward and bring in somebody like Leonard Fournette, who has been in rumors of potentially being available. There's been conversations of a 4th-round pick. Maybe that could even be as little as a 6th-round pick. That's been a very polarizing conversation. I know that him and Connor, they're two backs that are different in a way that Connor wasn't expected to do what he's done so far. He's achieved above expectations, even if some would want more from him, whereas Leonard Fournette has arguably underachieved to this point in his NFL career. And Connor does have him beat in certain stats. However, there's a lot of talent still with Leonard Fournette and maybe some untapped talent. He did play better last year than before. And at least for me, there's a possibility if you're truly going for it to potentially pair the two together. And if you can give up only a 4th or a 6th, I wouldn't be against it because that wouldn't mean giving up Connor altogether. You then pair the two together and potentially two guys that I don't think either one is a feature back. You could pair them and have a perfect marriage, and then you wouldn't have to worry as much about Connor or Leonard Fournette getting hurt. Any of you, what are your thoughts on Leonard Fournette conversation on whether or not you would advocate doing that? Kale, we'll definitely go to you here first to get your take. I mean, obviously that's polarizing. Everyone loves Connor so much, but it maybe would, if they do that, if they went that direction, it would change the course of this draft for sure.
Yeah, it definitely would. And, I like the idea of adding another running back for the Steelers. I'm just not totally sold on that happening here at pick 49. I think that the way to do it in the modern NFL is to have a committee of running backs, to have multiple guys that can do different things.
Right.
I think they'd be better served using that pick here at 49 on another position than running back. But Leonard Fournette, if the price of the 6th-round pick, which is something that we've heard, I would absolutely do that deal.
Okay.
The only thing is that he is very similar in his skill set to James Conner and what they have already. He's a powerful guy. He's also a guy that can catch the football as well. I was really kind of blown away to see that he had 76 receptions last year. That's something I didn't really even realize that he had.
That's underrated because when I advocated for Fournette, I heard a lot of people say, well, he's not as great of a patch catcher as Connor has become, but that's not true based on what Fournette has now become last year.
Exactly. And that's something that I didn't necessarily think that he had in his skill set. Clearly he does. It's all about how he ends up being utilized. But my thing is, if the Steelers were to add another running back into this mix, I think it'd have to be someone with a completely different skill set than James Conner to give you kind of a thunder and lightning kind of dynamic, a change of pace guy, something to mix it up, something that Jalen Samuels obviously hadn't been. Benny Snell is very similar to James Conner as well. But Leonard Fournette is a guy who, he has some NFL pedigree. He probably hasn't lived up to the hype, but he's a guy, too, that if you can give a 6th-round pick for him to add another element to this running game, I would definitely look into it, and I think 6th round is not a very high price to pay, but he does have a very similar skill set.
But you wouldn't do it for a 4th round then? So if it's 6, you just aren't willing to do it if the value drops.
No, I wouldn't do it for a 4th-round pick. For a 6, which I've heard too, I would probably do it for a 6th-round pick. The only other thing though too is he had 9 rushing touchdowns in his first year. He's had 8 the last 2 years combined. So the Steelers need to score points. That's something they really had difficulty last year, especially punching in from down close to the goal line. And even though he's a big body, that's not something he necessarily has been really good at.
Yeah, and that's odd because you figure if you're in your ideal world, if you're going to pair Leonard Fournette and James Conner together, you'd want Leonard Fournette to be your workhorse down in the goal line territory, get those touchdowns. If Conner maybe moves the chains prior to that, and he's not yet put that together. I, though, would even do it for a 4th round. If you're truly going for it, I think they work together well, and I don't personally think Conner can handle a full season of workload. He was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago.
I agree.
But even got hurt at the end. He's literally not had a full season of work really since high school and not even as much then.